Hey guys, it's Mary Ann with Shopping Crafty. Today I wanted to tell you guys how I budget with an irregular, very irregular income. So it took me a long time to figure out a system that worked for me. I finally figured something out when reading through Total Money Makeover, but it's not Dave Ramsey's system exactly. Just because I use one of his charts, but it's not the chart that is for irregular income. So first things first, yes, you should do the list that Dave Ramsey recommends of your most important expenses down to your ideal expenses. If you want to do savings for like a new outfit or a new computer or headshots or anything like that, you'd love to save for that, but sometimes you don't make enough. So definitely do that list, but you really only have to do that list once in a while because it stays fairly consistent. And that's why that budget didn't really work for me. But it is a good starting point just to figure out what you're looking at. Then, for actual practical use, I use two things every month to track my spending and my budget. First is EveryDollar. Now, that might sound weird because technically EveryDollar is not made for irregular incomes. I always have my list of income at the top, and I just adjust it as the month goes on. I estimate based on past months. I usually have a general idea of how much I'll make, and I'll lower it and increase it as the month unfolds. And I'll list, all of my essential bills and stuff. So my rent, my utilities, which change every month, but again, I can estimate at first, and then once I have the bills, I enter in the accurate information. Then I have my minimum payments, and then I always put in the total amount that I owe on my taxes. And so it always, at the top, tells me I'm over budget until the very end of the month. So basically, you're just changing your budget little by little every month until you try to get down to that zero. Which does mean always lowering how much I'm paying to taxes. But that's my ideal, so I always want to start with that and be like, how much money would I have to make this month if I wanted to pay it all off? So that one is mainly to track my income, not where my income is going. So I have all the totals of what I owe, and I have how much I make, and the number at the top is how much more money I need to make in order to break even that month. It's just a good mental progress tracker for me. Then the way I actually track my actual spending is in this little notebook, and it is Dave Ramsey's, I think it's like the allocation plan. I left the page open. Yeah, the allocated spending plan. Because you have 4 columns, and at the end of every week, you write how much money you made that week at the top, and you write down where you spent all that money as you go down. So for this month, let's see, it was July. So the first week of July, this month was awesome because I started my new serving job, so I made so much more money. But hopefully you can see kind of a general idea of what's happening here. So I have all of my bills listed on the side here. And then at the top each week, I list how much money I made. Then you go down, so I made $1,011 the first week of July, except for that was also including a couple days of the previous week. That's why it's so high. So I spent $96 of that on water. So that brought the total down to $915. So you just keep track of it like that. I hope you can see this. And you just go down and you write the amount you spent and how much money you have left over for the week. And so the first week of the month, I did all my utilities. I put money in my cash envelope system, and for my gas and my food and miscellaneous. And then I also paid all of my minimum payments for my bills for the month because it was an awesome first week. Then the next week, I made $947, and that paid for my car payment. So I guess it was all my credit cards the week before. My car payment and my insurance. And I paid $666 to my taxes And the next week I did $209 towards taxes, so I did $875 towards taxes this month, which was amazing, because that's the baby step I'm on, is getting right with the IRS. And I still owe about $1,000, but I think I might be able to do it in August, depending on income, but that would be so exciting. And I also, the third week I made $792. It like went down slowly every week. So I put some of that towards my rent, towards a payment to my aunt, because I did 2 payments for her this month because I had gotten behind. That was for SAG-AFTRA. I'll talk about that in another video, but I got a personal loan from my aunt to join the union out here. And then I bought a plane ticket to my sister's wedding in Florida. That will be so fun. And then, yeah, the next week was $558. I ended up having to buy more gas than was in my envelope, which is a bummer. So that was $22. I have a Prius, so at least a full tank of gas is usually just like 20 to 30 bucks. So I finished paying my rent. I had a little bit of money left over, which was awesome. That was just like $13, but I put that straight to my savings account to start building up an emergency fund, just because there was nothing I could, like I'm not going to put a $13 payment toward my taxes, and they had been due the week before, so I couldn't like wait until the end of the month to see. So I just put that in my emergency fund. So now I have $13 there. So maybe I'll post pictures of this so you can see it a little better, but it is Dave Ramsey's allocation plan if you want to look it up for yourself. And it works really well for me because it's you know, it shows me where my money went, because when you have a regular income, you can't always tell it where to go at first because you don't know how much you're going to get. But this is a way to keep track of it as the month goes on. So for August, I have some different things. I also included sinking funds in August because I've been watching Budget Girl and Gazelle Intense, and they both have sinking funds, and that's so smart, and I'm just an idiot and wasn't doing that. I mean, I tried. I started after Christmas to save for things like a computer in Florida for my wedding, my sister's wedding, but I didn't make enough, and I kept needing to, like, I'm sorry, but I need this money for rent, you know? So now that I'm making more money, I think I can accurately do it. So they're listed at the bottom because it's sort of the same. It's the list that Dave Ramsey wants you to do. It's most important to least important. So it's my utilities and my rent and my gas and car payment and insurance, food, all that stuff. Then my debts, my credit card debts, taxes, and then my sinking funds. But it'll be really great to be able to put money towards all of that. And it's just, you know, it's a blank slate for the month. I don't know how much I'll make the first week yet, but I add it up as I make it. And I don't like wait to spend it usually. Like, my utilities are already paid for, but I'm not going to log it until I know how much money I made this week. So I paid my utilities. I did some of my minimum payments for my credit cards, but that is my budgeting system. It looks like a fancy little notebook, but it's a notebook. I bought this a long time ago in college or something to try to keep track of my freelance income, and it just ended up working really well for this. But anyway, so yeah, those are the 3 things that I use to track my budget. I just do my priority list, like Dave Ramsey says, for irregular income. I use every dollar to keep track of how much I am actually making and how that lines up with how much I would like to make and like to spend. And then I do the allocated spending plan for how I'm actually spending money so that I know this week I spent this much. This week I spent this much. I also used to track in every dollar every single food expense I had, and then at the end of the week just put how much money I spent total for the week. Now I do the envelope system. This past month was the first time doing that. So much easier because I don't really track it as much anymore. I mean, I keep it under control because I've been doing it a budget long enough that I sort of already mentally know like how much I'm going to be spending when I'm at the grocery store, and how much food I can get throughout the month. So now I just have my budget for the month in my envelope, and when it's gone, and I don't have to constantly be doing math for how much money I spent. I just have that much money taken out already. It's counted as spent the first week when I put it in the envelope. Alright, well, if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below, or any advice on how I can make this system better, because I can always learn. Definitely sinking funds are something I'm going to start working on improving and setting up for this next month. I think once I get all settled with the IRS, it'll be a little easier because they have just so many fees and stuff if you're not paying it, so it feels foolish to be putting money towards anything else if I can put it towards the IRS. So yeah, that's been my experience so far. Anyways, thanks guys, and I'll talk to you in a couple days probably about some moving to LA advice. I already did finding apartments, so this is going to be finding work in Los Angeles, which is hard sometimes, but a lot of us manage to do it, so can't be too bad. Alright, thanks guys.